What is this?
You got to be on a cruise ship for this one.
You got to be on a cruise ship? Is that where that came from?
A cruise ship?
Or travel retail. I think there's some debate about where it's all going. But I looked at a bunch of travel retail on the way back from my cruise ship, and they didn't have this, but the cruise ship did.
So what is this?
It's a J Dub.
This is Johnnie Walker Black Ruby. Not Johnnie Walker Black. Not Jane Walker Black. None of that. This is a special release for travel retail from Johnnie Walker. And this is an interesting cask selection. So Johnnie Walker has whiskey from all over. They barrel it, whatever. They got some peat in there, they got some sweet in there, whatever. But this one, they've had some material that was put into PX and sherry seasoned red wine casks.
Ooh.
So what they've done here is try and sweeten up Johnnie Walker Black, is my impression of that.
Sure.
Okay.
Adding a little fruitiness to it, a little brightness to it. We'll see what it...
So they didn't dump a bunch of Johnnie Walker Red into the black and call it a day?
Fair question. It's not what it says on the box, but we'll see.
Wrong.
Right, because I mean, it says it's specific,
ruby.
specially selected whiskeys. Okay, what does that mean? Because honestly, I would have just guessed that they took some black and they finished it in some different casks.
It's possible.
But
I mean, that's what Johnnie Walker specially selected. I mean, what does that mean? Especially selected for black or...
Sometimes we get into weeds and business.
Correct.
It's magic. It's a special bottle.
It's a special bottle. And this 1 liter bottle went for about $60 US. So it's more expensive than black, less expensive than like some of the fancy whiskeys, but it is non-age statement.
And it's kind of unique.
and it says the sweeter side of black.
Oh,
So it says
Because
on that note.
Johnny Black is 12, right?
yeah.
Yes.
This does not have an age on it. So let's get into this.
Okay.
Into spice and delicate smoke.
Well, it's okay. It punches you in that spice there.
I get a lot of grain.
You do.
I'm just
Well,
being
Are
honest.
you getting any of that PX or sherry or red wine in there?
it's got something spicy. I'm not sure what it is. Not like a normal allspice.
I don't really smell a whole lot of wine or sherry unless they
So it
came from a grain factory.
it doesn't have the smokiness of regular 12 black.
Correct. I don't get any peat on the nose.
It has that
No.
White Walker smell to it to me.
Wild.
That acrid.
It doesn't have that. It's not as
I
acetone,
agree.
but it does have a predominant grain nose to it. I don't get a lot of malt or sweetness or anything on the nose. All right, let's try this.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's 40.
Drinks really.
Honestly, not bad.
It is
Oh,
bad.
I'm getting a little peat on the finish of this, though.
Yeah,
I didn't get on the nose, but I'm getting.
there's a hint of smoke.
Yep.
It's got some sweetness though. I do pull the sweetness. I don't know if I'm getting it as like red wine or sherry. It's just like kind of sweet.
Kind of sweet, a little bit of ruby fruit in it.
I
Yeah,
don't mind it. I don't
No.
mind it.
it's easy to
I
drink.
think the palate's better than the nose.
Oh,
Yes,
So
absolutely.
let's go back to the nose after we palate.
Yeah, good call.
Nope, still smells the same.
Yep. Didn't change a thing. And that's that.
hate to burst its bubble, but I don't think nose is where it's gonna shine. Honestly, though, on the palate, it's really very approachable. It doesn't have a lot of complexity, but it's easy to drink.
So you got a sweetness overlay with a little bit of peat in there. It doesn't taste as grainy on the palate as it does on the nose.
The nose is exactly the same with water. I didn't change it.
I'm ready. All right. So, non-age statement, blended. Obviously, know that there's some grain in there. Give all that something in the back of my mind. Honestly, the nose really didn't blow me away. I wasn't really impressed with the nose. With water, I thought the nose got a lot more grainier.
Boy,
But
going down.
on the palate, definitely approachable, easy to drink. There is a fullness to it. I actually got a little bit of a spice note in the middle of the palate. In the early to mid finish, you definitely get a little bit of that smoke, a little bit of that Johnnie Walker smoke. But then I think the finish goes pretty grainy on the end of it for me. For the price point and the way it drinks, it's definitely, I like the fact that it's a Johnnie Walker that's really approachable and it's definitely better than red, right? But it doesn't have the smokiness of the black.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair. It's for the price point. It's a decent whiskey for what you're getting. It's not going to blow you away. I think it's a little too grainy for me to really give it anything above a 2, but I don't think it's a below a 2. It wasn't off-putting in any way, shape, or form. I'll finish this dram. It's interesting. You know, I'm a Johnnie Walker fan, so let's give it a 2.
That's about right. So this is, I like Johnnie Walker Black. I think Johnnie Walker Black on the rocks is a great everyday drinker. It is grainy, fair. If you've had single malts and you tried Johnnie Walker Black, you're going to understand the grain. This definitely does sweeten up that. I get almost some raisins in the mid palate of this, so dry grapes and those kind of things. So they've done what they were targeting to do, is bring up Johnnie Black. I would argue this is probably more approachable than Black for most people because of that sweetness and the very subtle peat on it. It's not a great whiskey, but it's definitely not bad. Maybe a 2.5, maybe 2.5, because I do like the way they balance the sweetness and they make this probably a more approachable whiskey.
Wow. I don't have a whole lot more to add. You guys pretty much nailed it. I will say the price is a little too much for what I'm getting out of this. I mean, I can say you're right. The 12 is solid for what it is. I appreciate what they're doing. I think that they did a decent job at kind of making it a little better, a little special.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that's worth $60. I'm going to lock it from that. I'm going to say if it was around $45, I would say definitely go buy it.
Fair.
It's a big bottle, though, right?
It's 1 liter.
It's a 1 liter
It's a bigger
bottle.
bottle. That's true.
So
Fair. I'm going to go, I think it's 2.
okay.
Simple.
I was a little disappointed only from the fact that if you're going to say you're putting it in red wine casks and you're doing PX and you're doing Oloroso, you're doing all this stuff, I don't taste any of that.
Oh, shit.
It tastes like you took some Sweet and Low and dumped it into your Johnnie Walker Black to sweeten it up to make it like a little more approachable. Tell me I'm wrong.
Where do you go?
There's no berries. There's no dried, like, I don't get that, like, pipe tobacco, black tea. Like, yeah, maybe that was the problem, right? So, like, I don't mind that they did it. It just feels like they were like, all right, well, it's not sweet enough. What else can we dump in this thing, right? Like, that's the vibe I'm getting off this bottle. So it feels more like a marketing ploy than it does like, we made this thing and it's awesome and we want you to try it, right? It tastes more like, I mean, we just want to sell a bunch of these, right? Like, what can we do? So it is not bad. It is actually an easy sipper. I'm going to give it a 2. Like, I debated between 1.5 and a 2.
He's coming up to a 2.
I really am coming up to a 2. Honestly, the water on it, like, kind of knocked down the grain nose for me a little bit. But the palate was okay. Like, the palate kind of saved it, but it's still just kind of unidimensional. Like, after that first sip, I was like, oh, this is actually, I get some of the sweetness and I got a little bit of the smoke. And then by the third sip, I'm like, well, all that's gone. Like, what happened to all that? All I'm left with is the Sweet and Low. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's drinkable, but it's not like, don't be surprised if you're like, maybe 2 glasses and I'm fine. So
2.1.
All that you give it a 2.
Wow.
It seems like you describe a 1.5 to me, but if you want to go with a 2, because
There was some anger.
Yeah, there was some anger in there.
I mean, I get upset about marketed scotches, right? Like, this is obviously some marketing guys, like the intern, they were like, hey, we got to sell 1 million bottles. And he's like, all right, well, I don't like this Johnnie Walker Black. It's too smoky. What do you got back here that, like, we can dump this in and make it sweet, right? Can you put some coconut in it, or you turn it into a seltzer? I don't know.
So 2.17125.
Johnnie Walker
Ruby.
Black Ruby.
Get it on your next cruise.
Yeah. If you're cruising. Cheers.